Hey y'all, it's Regina. Welcome back. Welcome to episode 1. I am super excited. When I tell y'all I've been holding on to this for such a long while, I downloaded apps and recorded this, recorded that. So long story short, I am here not ready, but I realized that we must move through that. If I'm waiting to be ready, it will never happen. Let that be a nugget for you. So I'm here excited to learn and grow with you all. I plan to bring much value. I love studying the mind, personal growth, and honestly, anything I ever study, my knee-jerk reaction is to share it with someone. So that's what this podcast is all about. So before we jump in, I want to talk about a few things. What we have been taught about learning is actually not learning at all. We've been taught to memorize, to regurgitate information, and that's not actually learning. We learn with our emotions, we learn with our feelings, we learn through constant spaced repetition. What does that mean? That when you hear an episode here, when you listen to a podcast of any sort, a audiobook, a YouTube video, whatever, reading a book, you always will gain more knowledge when you listen or read a second, third, fourth time around. And that is because each time you gain new information, you elevate and you get onto a higher frequency, a higher vibration. What I suggest that you do is remember this is an interactive podcast and I can provide all the information. Anything you listen to or read can give you all the tools, all the information, but unless you have converted it to your subconscious mind where you can remember it on a deeper level where it becomes part of you, becomes part of your paradigm, it won't do you much good. I plan to provide lots of resources, links and such, PDF downloads. And what I suggest you do is get a binder, make it your own, decorate it, tag me on social media, #MomsWhoAchieve, because I would love to see what your binder looks like, and use that binder to put in your notes that you take, put in any PDF resources that you download, anything to help you reach your goals. I know that typically you may be working or multitasking when you're listening to this podcast, and that's okay. But when you go back to it, it will be really beneficial for you if you took notes, you really thought about the information. So if you had a binder in place where you had all of your information in one place, then you'll be actually doing the work. And this just won't be another podcast that you listen to. Let's get started. So today, I'm going to talk about the Stickman. I got this from Bob Proctor. You may hear it called the Stick Person. I may refer to it as Stick Woman for obvious reasons. And I'm going to drop a link in the show notes for the PDF that I created for you all. So if you've not seen this download, then I'm going to try my best to explain it without the visual. Go back and look at it, or if you want, pause this and go and take a glance at it so that you know what I'm referring to. We're going to have separate episodes to talk about each part because it can take quite a while. But I just want to introduce it on this episode and then give you an overview of each. So the Stickman is pretty much 2 circles. One bigger circle that's the image of the head, basically. And then a smaller circle that's the body. And then you got the arms sticking out and legs sticking out. So just think of it. It's very simple, but super powerful in understanding how our mind works. The larger circle up top, you are going to divide in half. The top part of that circle is what we call the conscious mind. The bottom half of that circle is called the subconscious mind. And then the body is the body. I'm going to tell you an overview of how each works. Your conscious mind is your thinking mind, educated mind. This is what we call the intellect. This is what separates us from other creatures in the kingdom because we have the ability to think. They operate off of instinct. We don't have that. We operate off of intellect. We create our own environment. So we have the power to originate. And when we think about our senses, this is where they're connected to from the outside world. To our 6 higher faculties in other episodes, the ability to reason, that's where this is. So our conscious mind is our thinking mind. This is where we're able to reason, to think on our own, and we have the ability to accept or reject any idea and originate our own ideas. The subconscious mind is very different. It cannot choose. The subconscious mind must accept what you give it. And that's going to be very important as we move through the different parts of the mind and body. And it does not have the ability to differentiate between what's real and what's different. That's also going to be important. Our conscious mind, we have the ability to choose, remember. The subconscious mind, we do not. And then we get into the body. Our body is our physical sense. Our body is what carries out what's in our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind holds our paradigms, our beliefs, those deep-seated beliefs that we were given before we can even think for ourselves. That's what the subconscious mind holds. So the most important concept here is to realize that the body is the instrument of the mind, or the house you live in. The actions you're involved in determine your results here. So as an overview, the Stickman is an image of the mind. It's how we can put two and two together to remember how each part works. You have your conscious mind. That's where you think, where you reason, your intellectual being. That's where our senses come in at. And your subconscious mind is where those ideas that we have decided to, whether we know it or not, accept, come into. The conscious mind has the ability to reject, accept, or originate ideas. The subconscious mind cannot. The only thing that it can do is carry out, manifest what the conscious mind has given it. And the body carries out the actions of our subconscious mind, and that is where we get our results. This is extremely important because as you move forward and you're working to undo those limiting beliefs that you have, those of which you likely did not choose for yourself, any beliefs that you want to change that is not serving you, you have to understand how these thoughts got into your mind and where to actually work on them. The paradigm is in the subconscious mind, and to change something, you have to change your paradigm. You have to change your deepest level of belief on that concept. And the power in knowing that we as human beings have the ability to accept, reject, or originate ideas is so powerful because you move from being victim to creator. When you understand that if someone says something to you, or you're watching the news, or you're reading a book, or you're overhearing people talk, that whatever ideas are coming through, you have the ability to accept that for yourself or say, no, that doesn't serve me, and reject it. You have the ability to originate entirely new ideas. And this is where the concept of you create your life comes in at. You have the ability to actually create in your mind the life that you want, the person you want to be, the things you want to have. And then that is where it manifests. It has to start in the mind first. So print this PDF off, put it in your binder, refer back to it as we discuss and we talk about it. I'll be referring back to it throughout the episodes. And we'll go in much deeper on each one as we move forward. And what I would love for you to do is think of one thought, one limiting belief that you have, and move it through this Stickman. Think about how it got into your subconscious mind. Think about the process of how that was then moved on to your subconscious mind and how you are activating or contributing to that belief by the results that you are seeing on a daily basis. Just think of one thought and think of how it moves through. At the end of each episode, I want to shout out a mom who is achieving. And I want you to understand that I have taken on the definition of success from my buddy, Earl Nightingale. And what he defines success as is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So that means that if you have an idea in your mind, if you know where you want to go, if you know where you're headed, if you have some big ideas for yourself, if you any kind of goal, no matter how big or small, you're successful. Because the moment you have it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Necessarily because they have a certain status or because they have certain money. It's because they have a goal, they have an idea, they're moving towards it, they're bettering themselves, they're trying to achieve something. And today I'm going to shout out my mom. Her name is Ayoy, which means joy. And she is the strongest woman I know, which is not necessarily a compliment. However, through everything that she's ever gone through, she continues to smile. She continues to get up each morning, do her best to reach whatever goal she's created for herself. She continues to be available for me, my sister, her grandchildren. She continues to provide space for us. And there's a lot to be said because as we get older in age, most people get set in their ways. But my mom isn't like that. She can be very open-minded, and I, being the first generation of many things, have come up with ideas and or introduced different concepts, and I've never felt that I wasn't accepted. So thank you, Mommy. I love you, and be blessed. So that wraps up episode 1. I hope you enjoyed. Please hit me up on social media. #MomsWhoAchieve. I want to see those binders. I want to see what you thought. What's your biggest takeaway? All of that good stuff. If this episode did you well, please share with another mom who could benefit. I'll see you guys next week.